What are we thinking? What are we thinking? All right. All right, guys. Let me try to make sure everything's set up here. So I'm just gonna take these off. I was gonna wear my glasses, but I don't feel like it right now. Anyways, hope you guys are doing well. So the reason I'm making this video is it's been almost exactly a year since my last Blu-ray collection video. So I'm kind of excited to show you guys some of the new entries I have. And yeah, so it's gonna might be a bit of a longer video than last time. I don't know for sure yet. I might go some rapid fires for some movies here. But I got a lot. There's a bunch of movies to the left of me here, and I also have some on the floor. So it might be some a good minute here. But so I'm gonna just kind of go over every single movie, and I hope you guys are doing well. Yes, my skin is being stupid right now, and it's breaking out. I don't know what's going on. I have the weirdest rig. I wish I could show you guys my point of view, but it is what it is. All right, so first one up here is 8 Mile. I really enjoy 8 Mile. It's one of the first music movies, I guess I should say, that I watched when I was younger, and I've always really enjoyed it. So I really love the end rap battle with Eminem, of course, or I'm sorry, B Rabbit in this case scenario. I'm just gonna start stacking movies below me because I don't know what else to do with it. And then here we got 21 and 22 Jump Street. I really enjoy both these movies. Honestly, when I first saw these, I didn't know what to expect when I was younger, and I think 2012 was when the first one came out. I was only 10 years old when the first one came out. I remember really enjoying it, and ever since then, I really enjoy it. Every so often, I go back and watch them, especially the first one. The second one's funny too. Just the first one, I think, has more memorable moments to it. But they're both good movies. I'd recommend them both. Next one up here is one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies, and that is 50 First Dates. Honestly, one of his best movies, in my opinion. It's just a good rewatch you can watch all the time. So yeah, that's that. Next one up is one of my favorite romantic comedy movies here, 500 Days of Summer. Just a great movie all over. If you haven't seen this movie, you are missing out. Go check it out. It is such a great music. I can't think of words today. Great movie. Mark Webb directed this, the one who directed Amazing Spider-Man. So if you like his kind of style of directing with, especially with, Peter and Gwen, you get a lot more of this in here. So go check it out. Speaking of Amazing Spider-Man, 1 and 2 double pack here on Blu-ray. I low-key want to get them on 4K eventually. I have a soft spot for the Amazing Spider-Man 1. I do like this film. Second one, I like parts of it, but it's probably one of my least favorites, low-key. I don't think they're bad movies. I wouldn't consider them bad. Just not great. So, I don't know. Next one here is a newer addition to my collection, and that is the 4 original American Pie movies. I really enjoy all these movies. I remember especially the first one's always been one of my favorites. The other ones I remember too, kind of vaguely. Growing up, I used to watch them, but especially just the first one, I used to watch that all the time growing up, and it's just such a good movie. I think they came out in the 90s, I believe. Let me see. I don't know when they came out. I think it was the early 90s or 2000s, I believe, but I really enjoy all those movies. The spin-offs I'm not a big fan of. They're kind of just meh without the original cast, so I'm not sure. Okay, next up here is a newer edition as well. That is American Psycho. So my friend actually introduced me to this movie, and at first I didn't like it. I'm like, what the heck is this movie even about? But that's kind of the point. I think it's about your own perspective of what the movie really is about. And I really just enjoy Patrick Bateman's, psychology, his mindset. It's just all over, because sometimes you don't know if it's real. My hair is just all weird today. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. That's a little better. His mindset is just so weird, and he's become such a meme, especially this year and last year, and not in a bad way, he's just kind of coming back, and I really enjoy it. It's a movie you can just pop in, and you can just kind of watch in the background, and also you can watch it and study it at the same time, so it's kind of a movie you can do both with. I really enjoy it. My favorite scene probably is when he's running down the hallway with the chainsaw. That's hilarious, and then the opening scene when he's doing his facial moisturizer, or whatever he says, in the shower and all that stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Hilarious stuff. Next up here is a addition I didn't think I was going to add, but that is Aquaman. Now, Aquaman, I didn't like it at first, I'll be honest with you guys, but I think as I come to watch it a few more times, it has that sense of easy watchability, and I mean that in a positive way. Like, I really liked, is it James Wan that directed it? James Wan's directing style, and it has, like, the big wide-angle lenses and the cameras going all around, and some of the fight scenes. Pretty neat stuff, I'm just hoping the second Aquaman is going to be good. I don't know, with all the buzz with Amber Heard, I don't know how well it's going to turn out. Next up here, low-key, I just rewatched this again for the first time, and that is the first Avatar. I remember I watched it when it first came out. I remember I didn't really care for it. I rewatched it again not too long ago, probably for a few months ago, and I remember liking it. I don't think it's the best movie ever, like everyone claims it is. I just like it. I do need to see the second one, Way of Water. I haven't checked it out yet. I do want to check it out eventually, though. Next up here is Baby Driver. I really enjoy this movie. I think I was watching my old um, movie review from last year, and I was talking about how, Baby in the movie loves to listen to earbuds and just kind of vibe out. I swear that is me to a T. I was just thinking, I feel like I can't be myself sometimes if I don't have my AirPods with me. Like, I'm always having my AirPods, just listening to music, vibing out. Low-key, like, music controls my life sometimes, and that's probably not a good thing. But it's just who I am as a person. I love music. I love all genres of music. But I really enjoy that movie. Next up here is honestly probably one of my favorite franchises of all time, especially after I rewatch it more often now. And that is the Back to the Future trilogy on Blu-ray. I do want to get this on 4K. I haven't seen the transfer yet. I don't know how good it turned out. I just love these movies, guys. What else can I say? They're just such fun times. The first one's great, probably my favorite of the trilogy. Second one's real good. I love the futuristic aspect. And then you get the third one. It's kind of a laid-back story, but I even enjoy that one too. Next up here is the Bad Boys trilogy. I talked about this in the last one, but I did say that the third one is still my favorite. That still stands true. The third Bad Boys for Life is still my favorite. I do want to get Bad Boys for Life on 4K. I think it'd be a good transfer. Because some of the Blu-ray, some of the scenes don't kind of, the frame rate doesn't seem like it goes well, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I don't know. I hope my dog isn't ripping anything. I'm not sure. Next up here, guys, the Batman. What can I say about the Batman? I don't know if I talked about it in my last movie review. I don't think I did. Or movie review, Jesus. My last Blu-ray review. I'm telling you guys, the Batman this is 4K. Best Buy exclusive steelbook. I can't tell you guys enough. I think I've watched the Batman like 10 plus times at least, because it's just such a good film in my opinion. I love the pacing. It is a little bit slow at times, but it's just, I love the mood of it. It's such a gothic, and obviously Gotham, it's such a gothic and dark and gritty film. I just love like 95%. There's some things I don't really care for, but in most of the movie, I just enjoy so much. I love the portrayal of Bruce. It's different. We're not used to him being more of an introvert type personality, because usually he's, out and about, being a public figure. But in this, he's more contained. But I think eventually when they make the second Batman, he's going to be, the normal Bruce Wayne we're used to. But surprisingly, Robert Pattinson blew me out of the water. He did a good job for what he was given. Next up here is one of my favorite Michael Keaton movies, and that's Beetlejuice. I just love it. It's such a film of the era, and I mean that in a positive way. Just give it a watch if you haven't seen it. It's funny. It's hilarious. What's the line I'm thinking of? I can't even think. I don't remember. But you'll know the line. It's a funny line, and I can't even think. Anyways, next up here is one of my favorite comedies of all time and coming-of-age stories, and that is Big with Tom Hanks. Such a great film. I can't say enough about Big. It's one of my favorite films, honestly. It's probably top 50, I would argue. It's just such a good film. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's so great. Next up here is, I got a lot of Big movies, by the way, so just be aware. Next up is Big Daddy with Adam Sandler. Probably, arguably one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies. It's hard to say which one is my favorite Adam Sandler movie, but one of my favorites for sure. It's so funny. My favorite line is from, what is this? What's the kid's name? I can't even think. Julian. He's like, I wipe my own ass. It's hilarious. I get so many quotable lines in that movie. Next up here, I need to give it a rewatch, honestly, is Big Hero 6. I remember watching this, believe it or not. When in school, I remember watching this when I was like in high school, or early high school, I think. They were showing it in class, and I remember really liking it. I just need to rewatch it, I need to rewatch it, that's all I can say. Next up here, I'm kind of iffy about this movie. I don't know yet. Next up here is Big Lebowski with Jeff Bridges and John Goodman. Did I say it? Yeah, John Goodman. I've tried to watch the movie so many times. I just fall asleep every time, so I don't know if that means it's boring or I'm just tired when I watch it. I don't know. I remember liking the vibe of it. It's kind of a laid-back, type movie. But I don't know. I like it. I just need to stay awake for it. That's the problem. Next up here is a surprise that I did not expect to like, and that is Ethan Hawke and the Black Phone. I really like the setting of this. It's kind of a simple-esque story with some little, inaccurate, non-realistic things in there. But the ghost aspect on the phone, and it's just so neat how they do the portrayal of this. And, I will tell you, Ethan Hawke's mask in this is scary. Every time he would go down to the basement, You know, and his mask would change and just like give off a moody vibe. I'm like, yo, that's scary. Like his eyes when he was crying. There's just a lot of things you got to read into it. Really, if you really just pay attention, you'll know what I'm saying. But it's a good movie. Like, give it a watch if you haven't seen it. I think it's on HBO Max. Next up here is a new one I've also added, and that is The Breakfast Club. Believe it or not, I've never seen The Breakfast Club until I think early man, I think it was late last year. I checked it out. I remember I didn't like it at first. I'm like, this is not really my cup of tea. I rewatched it again after that. I'm like, okay, I like this. I see what they're going for. It's more of a laid back kind of film. You know, they're just talking, having a good time in school. That's all it's about. And I don't think I understood it at first. I'm like, this is kind of dumb, but I like it now. It's really fun. It's definitely a film of the time. So next up, I don't think they could ever remake it. Don't remake it, guys. Please don't. Next up here is Brothers with Jake Gyllenhaal, Tobey Maguire, and Natalie Portman. A great cast. One of my, probably like the best Tobey Maguire movies, besides the Spider-Man, of course. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, it's a war movie. I'm not usually into war movies most of the time, but that's such a great movie. You know, it's great. Just give it a watch. Give it a watch. Next up here is A Cabin in the Woods on Steelbook. I need to give this a rewatch. I remember liking it. I don't remember everything about it. I just remember. See, I can't even tell you because I don't want to say the wrong thing and look like an idiot. I just need to rewatch it. I remember liking it though. Next up here, this is the last pile for the first part. I got like 5 more stacks to go. Next up here, I haven't opened it yet. It's I Can Only Imagine. I have seen this film. It is a religious type film, and it's based on Mercy Me, I think is the band group name. I'm just going to start stacking films below me. Please don't fall. Mercy Me, I believe. And I remember liking it. I just need to rewatch it. I think it's more of like a family film, you know. So, I don't know. Everyone needs a family film, right? Next up here is actually new. Both of these I'm going to show you are new editions. So the first one I'm going to show you together because this is the first one I watched, and that's Christmas Vacation. I remember people telling me that's a really good film. I really enjoyed it. It's such a fun film. And then also I got Vacation as well. The first one, not the new remake BS crap. So let me put that back. So I remember really liking them. Christmas Vacation was really funny at the time. Then I watched Vacation. Really enjoyed that as well. Then I watched European Vacation. It's not great. It had a lot of slow moments. I think it had a good idea on paper, just the way it was executed and directed, and the pacing just wasn't really great. So those 2 movies are my favorite, definitely for sure. I love the scene when Sparky, you know, the dad, in Christmas Vacation, didn't get his raise, his yearly raise, and it was hilarious. I love that whole scene. Next up here, arguably one of my favorite horror movies here. I'm going to do all 3 here. The Conjuring, I love this film. I love it. I watch it probably every Halloween. It's a great film. It's a classic, easy film to watch. Next up here is Conjuring 2. A slight dip in my opinion, but still a good film. A little bit cheesy at times, but I still really enjoy it. Next up here is definitely my least favorite of the trilogy, sadly, and that is Conjuring 3. I think it had some good elements to it. I don't call it a bad film. I just think the first one and kind of the second one really had some high standards to compete with. So some of it just kind of fell flat for me. Next up here, speaking of my movie reviews, Creed, like I mentioned the other day, Creed's my favorite of the 3. Creed is just such a great film. A lot of memorable moments for me when he's getting trained and this and that. Dolly, are you being good? Dolly? I gotta make sure my dog's being good, guys. She's in there alone. I had to bring my movies in here so she doesn't mess with me. Next up here is Creed 2, of course. I really enjoyed this movie. I haven't decided if I like 2 or 3 better yet. So, I don't know. But I really enjoy them both. Next up here, these are easy, fun films to get through. This is Daddy's Home. I really enjoy this with Mark Wahlberg and, oh God, Will Ferrell. Jesus. What is my dog doing, guys? I'm going to have to take a second to go see what she's doing. I really enjoy this film. It's hilarious. This one, also, of course, you got Daddy's Home 2. I like this one a little less, but I still really enjoy this one for what it is. It's pretty funny, too. Well, let me check on my dog, guys. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. Don't fall from... Dolly, you being good? You being good, Dolly, babe? Very good. You good. I think we're good, guys. Okay, sorry, quick intermission. Guys, you see how short I am? I know you can't really tell on camera, but I'm so short, it kind of makes me sad. Okay, I had to check on her because the other day she bit up my recliner cord, so I have to really keep an eye on her. So next up here is the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I need to rewatch these. I remember they're like okay when I watched them. I think they're a bit overrated, honestly. No offense, guys, if you love them. I like them. I don't love them like everyone else does. But I just need to rewatch them. I remember the fight scenes have always been kind of wonky looking when it comes like, ugh, ugh, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Okay, next up here is two films I love, and that is Deadpool 1 and 2. I cannot wait for the third one because Logan is going to be in it. Wolverine, of course. Sorry. I'm excited for that. Very excited. I love both those films. I think if they make the third one, it's going to be a perfect trilogy. I love both of them. Next up here are some good kid films if you haven't seen them. And that's the Diary of a Wimpy Kid trilogy 1, 2, and 3. What are they called? Dog Days and Project Rules. Project Rules easily being my favorite of the three, but they're all good films. I definitely think I would say Project Rules is my favorite, then Dog Days, then the first one. The first one's good. It's a little bit the pace. I think they have different directors for the second and third one. The first one just has a weird pace to me, but it's not bad. It's definitely a good movie, not a bad movie or nothing. Next up here is a film that is also new to my collection, and that is Django Unchained. I really enjoyed this movie. I did not expect to like this movie at all because I'm not usually like a Western like fan. But this movie, the Jamie Foxx's performance and Leo DiCaprio and just all those guys, you know, and Chris Waltz, of course, did a great job. I just go check it out if you haven't seen it. It is definitely gory, so if you don't like gore, don't watch it. But like in the first 5 minutes, you'll know what I'm saying. But it's definitely a good film. Next up here is Don't Breathe, a really good thriller film. It's a really simple film. You know, you have these kids that break into the wrong person's house, and the twist at the end is all I'm going to say. It's still really interesting. I do low-key want to check out the second one. I didn't hear great things about it. I just don't know how they're going to make us sympathize with you-know-who. I don't know. I need to check it out, though. Next up here is one of my favorite Will Ferrell movies, and I just had this in my collection probably a couple months ago, and that is Elf on 4K. I used to not like this movie. I'm like, this is kind of hokey, but you just have to go with it, you know. It's really silly, but it's a fun film to watch every Christmas. I really enjoy it. Next up here is probably one of my favorite Jake Gyllenhaal movies, and Michael Pena's in it, of course, and that is End of Watch. It's a cop movie. It's really sad. I mean, at the end, you know what I'm saying. I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't seen it, but it's a great movie. Go give it a watch if you haven't seen it. It's a lot of cam footage type type movie. So if you don't like that, it might not be for you. It's a lot of shaky cam, but that's kind of the aspect. These are supposed to be the cop's point of view. But go give it a watch if you haven't seen it. I really enjoy it. Next up here, I need to give this a watch, so I can't really say much about it, but that's E.T. on Blu Ray. I remember I just saw it at Walmart one day. I picked it up because I had some E.T. Everyone has seen E.T. I've seen it. I just need to watch it again. I can't tell you enough about it to elaborate. Next up here is a movie that is really new, relatively new, somewhat, since I've last seen you guys on this, and that is Everything Everywhere All at Once. This movie, I'm telling you guys, I had no expectations. I just knew it was kind of about time travel, kind of multiverse-like stuff, and yes, it was, but there is so many things in this movie I could talk about, but I don't want to give everything away. Just give it a watch if you haven't. It is so crazy, and I love all that stuff. I'm a nerd, you guys know this. And it's all up my alley, so. Alright, third pile here. This is a new movie as well, and it is The Fabelmans. I actually started watching this when, about a few weeks ago, I'd say. I got through about half of it, and I fell asleep. Not because it's bad. I was really enjoying it. I was tired. So I need to rewatch this. I really liked what I was watching, though, because I want to be a filmmaker and stuff like that. So I was really kind of connecting with this film, but I think I like it. I do think I'm going to like it, because from what I was watching, I really enjoyed it. Next up here is one of my favorite romance movies, and that's The Fault in Our Stars. Yes, I don't care what they say. I really enjoy this movie, The Fault in Our Stars. It's a really good story. Just watch it. You guys have seen it. You know what's up. Alright, next up here is one of my favorite comedies of all time. It's definitely probably top 5, and that's Ferris Bueller's Day Off. If you haven't seen this, what's wrong with you? Go check it out. Hilarious movie. Hilarious. Next up here is a double pack, Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. I have not seen Finding Dory yet. I really like Finding Nemo. I just need to watch Finding Dory, guys. I'm sorry. Cut me some slack. Okay, next up here is a movie that I think is a good watch. Nothing that will change your life, but it's a fun watch, I should say. And that's Fist Fight with Ice Cube and Charlie Day, right? A funny movie. You know, you got Ice Cube. He's kind of the hard ass, teacher, but he has good intention. Then you got Charlie Day. He's kind of a pushover, but he's a nice guy, funny guy. I think I'd be more Charlie Day, to be honest with you guys. But anyways, it's a funny movie. Go check it out. The ending of it is definitely hilarious because guys are literally like that. You know what I'm saying when you see the movie. Guys like do that and they're like, oh, it's fine. Anyways, next up here is Tom Hanks, probably his best movie, Forrest Gump. A great movie. It's hard. I will be honest, I can't watch it all the time because it's a long movie. You just have to go with it, keep going. But it's a good, really good movie. I love this movie. I just need to I need to take a day and rewatch it. But my favorite line is, "Sorry I interrupted your Black Panther party," or whatever. That's so funny. Hilarious. Next up here is probably my favorite Jordan Peele film as of now, and that is Get Out. I just love this movie, guys. It is so crazy and so messed up. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But it is such a good watch. It's like, oh, it'll stick with you. I love that movie. Next up here is one of Adam Sandler's funniest, I'd say, movies, and laid back. And that is Grown Ups. Definitely better than the second one in my opinion, but the second one's still funny. You got the burp snart and the second one. There's a second one. But they're both funny films. I wish they would make a third one. I know Cameron Diaz passed away, so it might not be the same. But I think they could still do it with the main, dad actors, you know what I mean? And it'll still be funny. But I don't know. Next up here is arguably probably my favorite war movie, and that's Hacksaw Ridge on 4K. I love this movie, guys. It has a nice slipcover steelbook. If it's with Andrew Garfield, guys, I love Andrew Garfield, and that's a great movie. Go check it out. It is such a good film. So good. Next up here is probably one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies as well. Happy Gilmore. So funny. I love Chubbs in the movie. And then I love the part when Ben Stiller makes a cameo with the grandma. And he's like, "I will put you to sleep." It's so funny. Next up here is really interesting because this is the first 8 Harry Potter movies with, Daniel Radcliffe and all of them. I need to rewatch them because I am actually playing currently Hogwarts Legacy. I had no intention of playing it. I just bought it the other day and I'm really enjoying it. So I really want to watch those movies again. I remember liking the movies growing up. I don't remember all of them. The one that really remembers is Deathly Hallows 2. I really like that film. Next up here is Hocus Pocus. It's a shame because the second one I heard was really bad. So it kind of sucks. But I'll just stick with the OG. I really like the OG. It's really a good Halloween film. I think I watched every Halloween as well. Okay, now we're on the third. We're about halfway there, guys. So we're about 22. We might make it to about the same time. Next up here is Double Pack, Home Alone 1 and 2. What can I say about Home Alone? Home Alone's great. Go watch Home Alone, both of them. They're both great. Oh, man. Okay. Next up here is I'm a little guilty because I haven't really seen these films. And that is Indiana Jones 4-film collection. I only got this, to be honest with you guys, because I want to watch them all, then I want to see the new one in theaters. I have a bad feeling, just from the trailers alone, Indy 5 doesn't look good to me. And I don't really have any reference point, I can't compare it to anything because I've never really seen these films. But it just there's a vibe to it. I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's not looking great to me. Forgive me. That's just my opinion. Next up here is a really good film to me. That is the first It, Chapter 1, if you want to call it that. I really enjoy that film. It's a great film. I think that I heard they're making a spin-off series on HBO Max about Pennywise, is that? Or is it the town? I don't remember what they said. But I'm kind of curious to see how that turns out. And of course, you get the second one. The second one's okay. I definitely prefer the first one, though. There's just some things in the second one that just kind of took me out. I really think the actors that played the older versions of the kids did really good, though. I mean, it's just some of the story aspects that didn't work for me. Okay, now we are on... Oh my gosh, I got 3 stacks below me, guys. If I could show you, it's hilarious. Next up here is, I think, a new collection, if I remember correctly. And that's Jingle All the Way. This film was so funny. It is such a good Christmas movie. It's so dumb. It's so lighthearted. And that's a good thing to me. Sometimes you need lighthearted films that you can just watch, put on, and have a good time. Put that cookie down! That's where their line comes from, if you know. But it's a funny film. Go check it out. Hilarious. Next up here is good because the new one's coming out really soon. You got John Wick 1, 2, and 3. The first one's my favorite. And then I would say the third one, then the second one. The first one's my favorite because it's a classic, It just makes me so sad every time when they kill the dog. I'm like, you mother... It is such a sad and heartbreaking scene. Like, the way, when you find the dog right in front of John, I'm like, I would cry. Like, I don't think I could ever live with myself. So I don't blame John for doing what he did. So if you don't believe me, there's the second one. There's the third one. I'm sure you guys would not believe me, but okay. All right. Next up here is one of my. I need to get this on 4K. One of my favorite films, low key, is Joker. I'm excited for the second one. I'm just curious what they're gonna do. I think this film would work fine by itself if they didn't have a sequel coming out. We'll see we'll see what Todd Phillips does. I heard it's kind of a musical aspect. I think it could work. It just depends how they do it. I know they have Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. They released a teaser photo not too long ago. I think it can work. I'm just curious how they're gonna tackle it. That's all I'm gonna say. But I really enjoy Joker. Next up here are lighthearted, fun films, and that's Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, a funny film, definitely a decent time, you know. And the second one, Next Level, it's pretty funny too. But the second one, I think, is a little less funny than the first one, but they're both funny, I guess. I like them both. Next up here is Kick-Ass, kind of like The Boys, in my opinion, because this is like a slightly more inappropriate version of like regular superheroes. Well, actually not slightly, a lot more inappropriate, but it's a fun time. It's more of a what would happen if superheroes really were real, you know, and this is kind of a good aspect of how I like to compare it to. Kind of like The Boys in a sense, but without superpowers. And there's, oh Jesus. I'm dropping movies, guys. And of course, Kick-Ass 2, a funny film. I think the first one's definitely better though. I'm just curious why they never made a third one. They could always make a Kick-Ass 3. I think it'd work. Next up here, I need to rewatch this. I got Knives Out on 4K. I think I got it on Black Friday. A lot of these movies I did, and I remember liking this. Chris Evans, by the way, let me tell you, I'm not a homosexual, but Chris Evans in this film, y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I need to rewatch this movie. I remember it was a whodunit film, of course, and I like this kind of movies as I get older, so need to check it out again. Next up here is definitely a new collection to my. Definitely a new film to my collection, and that is La La Land with Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. And let me tell you, by the way, though, this steelbook is beautiful. Whoever made this, kudos to you. It's beautiful. I really enjoy this film. It's definitely up there with love movies. You know, it's such a good movie, especially the ending. It like breaks your heart, but you know it's for the best. If you know what I'm referring to. And it is a musical too. And I'm not a big. If you guys know me, I'm not a big musical fan. But if they're done right, you know, I will watch them. But yeah, really enjoy that film. Next up here is a new edition, and that's Man of Steel. I've seen Man of Steel so many times. I never had it in my collection though. Man of Steel honestly is like one of the only DCEU films I really enjoy. I like this film. It's not the best Superman take. I think it's more of a realistic take of what happens if Superman was real. You know, but I really enjoy it. I'm still bummed out that Henry Cavill's not in the DCEU now. I'm like, that's such a stupid decision. Like, I don't know who thought that. I understand they're rebooting it with a younger Superman. I completely get that. And James Gunn, we trust. But I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm hoping it's gonna be good. I'm hoping. Next up here, I haven't watched it in a while, but this is Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, I believe. I remember it being funny, a little laid back time. I don't have much to say about it. I need to rewatch it sometime. Next up here is probably my favorite Disney Pixar movie. One of them, Monsters Inc. It's such a funny movie. It's such a classic. I used to watch it all the time growing up. Hey, I made snow cones. But funny. And then you got Monsters University. I remember liking this film. I just need to give it a rewatch again sometime. Next up here is a new collection. New film to my collection, I believe, and that's Mrs. Doubtfire with Robin Williams. The whole premise of this movie is a little weird when you think about it, but you get it at the same time. It's funny though. I really enjoy it. Go check it out. Next up here is a new edition, I believe, and that is Nightcrawler. I got a recommendation from a YouTuber I watch, and I will tell you guys, I really appreciate this movie the more I watch it. I just really enjoy it. Pretty much Jake Gyllenhaal. I love Jake Gyllenhaal, by the way, if I didn't say. He's just kind of lurking around with his video camera and filming news. That's the whole movie. But I just feel, you know, when he's doing it, it's like he's a lurker. He lurks around at night, you know, and it's just a simple movie, but it works. So just watching it, you know what I'm saying. Next up here, I haven't watched it yet. I did buy it though because I did want to check it out, and that's Nope with Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer, and all, and I think Steven Yeun. I forgot his name. Nope, I haven't seen it yet. I really want to check it out though. I haven't seen it because it's Jordan Peele. I liked all of his movies so far. I just have not seen it yet. You need to check it out. Next up here is a really funny film, Project X. I really appreciate this movie. I've watched it so many times growing up, and it's really funny. It's a big party that goes bazonkers. I made that word up. Sorry. Next up here is, I think they're making a third one, aren't they? Or no. Or the series. Anyways, The Quiet Place 1 and 2. I can't remember if they're making it another one or a film, or I mean a series. I don't know. I really enjoy both these films. The first one I think is a little bit better. I think the second one only bothered me because they had the family split up. I didn't really care for that. But everything else I remember liking about it. Gosh, movies are stacking up. Next up here is Denzel Washington's Remember the Titans, a really inspirational movie. Go check it out. You have to see this movie. It's a great movie. Don't watch it all the time, but when I do, I always appreciate it. Next up here, I think is a relatively newer addition, and that is Scary Movie. I tell you guys, as I get older, I'm almost 21 by the way, guys, in like a month. April 12th, if you're wondering. I literally quote this movie all the time. It is so funny. I just think it's a timeless 2000s movie, and I mean that in a positive way. Like it's its own sense of humor. It pokes fun at a lot of things, and that's the whole point. This is the only one I really find hilarious. The other ones are like, not really funny. This one's hilarious though. Go check it out if you haven't seen Scary Movie. Next up here is, I think, a newer edition, if I remember correctly, and that is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. If I had to describe my personality, it would be this film, and I mean that because it's so wild, it's so creative, it's so, colorful. It's just energetic is a good word for it, And it is. I just think this film is hilarious. I love this film. Go check it out. Chris Evans, by the way, just the idea of the movie is hilarious, but Chris Evans in this movie, that is hilarious. That was a horrible impression. Next up here is the Scream 3 movie collection, 1, 2, and 3. I really enjoyed the first film, of course, probably my favorite of the 5 now, almost 6 coming out. I remember liking all these films. I think the first one's my favorite. Second one, what was the second one? Who was the reveal? Oh, that's right. Yep. And then I was thinking of all the reveals. Sorry. But yeah, I enjoyed that. And then of course I got Scream 4 right here, a good film as well. I don't hate any of the Scream films, to be honest with you guys. And this is the Scream 2020, whatever, or 2022, whatever you want to call it. Really enjoy that film too. I'm really excited for the Scream 6 because I'm hearing really good reviews about it. So that's exciting. Next up here is the only other DCEU film I think I have, and that's Shazam. A really lighthearted film. I like this look over, by the way. Can you see that? Yeah. I really like Shazam. It's a fun, lighthearted film. The villain's okay, but the story, it kind of is like big meet superhero in a sense. That's how I think of it. So go give it a watch if you haven't seen it. I really appreciate it. Okay, guys, so let me get this other stack. We are now on to the floor stack. Oh, God. What? Oh, okay. Alright, sorry guys. Okay, this is actually a film that took me by surprise. I think I had this last time. It is Soul, starring Jamie Foxx. I really like this movie, guys. Very, very, very good film. I really appreciate it. Go give it a watch. It's underrated, honestly, in my opinion. Next up here is arguably one of my favorite Spider-Man movies, if not top 2. Top 3 for sure. And that's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It is just, when I think of Spider-Man and how to do Spider-Man, this film is instantly what comes to mind. It is so good. It has so many representations in there. If you don't like regular Spider-Man, you got Spider-Man Miles Morales. And if you don't like him, you got Spider-Gwen. There's just so many adaptations you can go off of. Then you got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse coming out this year too. You guys better know I'll be doing a review for that. I am so excited. So excited, guys. Speaking of Spider-Man, this is the Spider-Man trilogy. I enjoy all 3 of these films, believe it or not. The first one's, honestly, I think the first one's my favorite to watch. I think the second film's a better film. The third one is a slight guilty pleasure. I don't hate the third film like everyone else does, though. I think there's some good meaning behind it, My least favorite in the trilogy, correct. It's not a bad film, no. So I don't know. I watch it, though. I love the black suit stuff. I love Emo Maguire. I love all that stuff. So in the action set pieces, by the way, I love that scene in the beginning when he's with the crane and he goes to save Gwen. That's a super cool scene. Okay, there's going to be a speed round, guys. We have all of the Star Wars movies. Okay, so we got and this is in order of release, by the way, how I do it. We got Star Wars A New Hope, probably my second favorite Star Wars movie. I really enjoy it. Empire Strikes Back, probably my favorite, I would argue. A really good film. It's great. What else can you say? Return of the Jedi is a really good film. I really like this one. Probably my fourth favorite, I would say. Good film. A good film. The same with the Ewoks and a couple other things. Just kind of like, okay. Not a bad film, though. Not a bad film. Next up here, Phantom Menace. Me, okay. All right. In my opinion. Attack of the Clones. Me, okay. Okay, now Return of the Jedi is easily my Return of the Jedi. What did I say? Revenge of the Sith. Easily my favorite of the prequels. I really enjoyed this one, especially the last, like, what is it, an hour? You know, when they're battling. I'm not really Star Wars associated yet. I'm newer to Star Wars, but I really enjoy the final scene with Obi-Wan and Anakin. Of course, great stuff. Okay, next up here, I really actually enjoy this film. Probably my fifth favorite, and that's The Force Awakens. I really like this film. It's shot really well. I like it. You know, it's a good film. Next up here, Rogue One. I do like this one as too. I forgot about this one too. This one's pretty good too. I really enjoy this, and it's actually good enough to get they had that spin-off series Andor, so people must like it. I like this one too. Actually, I forgot about that. My bad. Next up here is where I get kind of blurry. I just don't care after this point really. Last Jedi, meh. Solo, I liked it. It's fine. Rise of Skywalker. Snooze fest. Step Brothers, definitely my favorite, probably top 3 favorite comedies. I just love this film so much. And when I think of comedy, I instantly come to this film right here. Step Brothers is hilarious. It's so funny. It's so funny, guys. Go check it out. Go check it out. Next up here is Straight Outta Compton, a great film. I really enjoy this film. It really made me appreciate, oh Jesus, why can I not use my brain? NWA, thank you, brain. Really appreciate their music and all their stories. Next up, sorry guys. Next up here is a newer film in my collection, and that's The Suicide Squad. I really enjoy this movie. There's a couple slow moments, especially with like the second act, but overall I enjoy this movie, especially with Peacekeeper coming out after the fact. I think it made me appreciate that movie more, because Peacekeeper, I really enjoyed that film and the style it was done with. So, alright guys, we're almost there. We're almost there. So I believe this is my last regular stack, and then I'm going to do a speed round of all my MCU movies and what I think. Alright, next up here is the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Really enjoy it. I don't watch it all the time, but when I watch it, I remember liking it. Next up is, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I remember I started to watch it, I kind of fell asleep. I don't think it was boring, I just kind of fell asleep. I needed to watch it again. That's my honest opinion. Next up is, I believe, a newer edition as well, and that's Super 8. I remember really liking it. I liked the build-up to it. I think it was a little underwhelming in the end with the creatures, but I like the idea of it, though, for sure. Next up is Superbad, also a really hilarious comedy. I love it. A classic, high school, typical high school teens, what they want to do in high school. A funny movie. Go check it out. Oh, and here's some great films. Okay, Top Gun on 4K. I'll be honest with you guys. I watched Top Gun sometime late last year, and I liked it. I thought it was good, But then the sequel came out, Top Gun Maverick. What can I tell you about It is, I would argue, it's almost perfect in every way. It's such an adrenaline rush, and it's just such a great film. Oh my god. It really made me appreciate the first one even more. I just love it. I love it. Okay, next up here is Toy Story 1. A great film. I love all the Toy Story movies, besides the fourth one, it's okay. Toy Story 2 is good, of course. I would probably say it's hard to say. I think Toy Story 1 and 3 I flip around all the time, which one's my favorite, and then I'd say 2, then 4. Toy Story 3 is great, of course. And then you got Toy Story 4. I just don't think they needed to make 4, guys. I'm sorry. Say what you want. I don't think 4 was necessary. I'm sorry. And I think they're making another one, too. I'm like, another one? Y'all better do it right this time. Next up here is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage. A really, really funny movie. I need to rewatch it again. I did watch it. But I need to rewatch it again to give you my full thoughts. A funny movie, though. I remember that. Next is Us by Jordan Peele. I really enjoyed that movie. I saw it in theaters when it came out, whenever that was. I can't remember, a few years ago. And I really enjoyed it. I loved the concept of it. Really interesting. Next up here is Venom, a really fun, easy to get through movie. It's really a romantic comedy if you think about it, and it's funny. Next up here is the sequel. I love the Steelbook, by the way. That's what I will say. I love the Steelbook. I think they give Carnage a little bit dirty. They could have made him way more gruesome. I know they only had I think the PG-13 rating kind of held him back low key. I enjoyed it. I just, when they teased him at the end of No Way Home, I was like, oh, well, that's kind of a bummer. I wanted Tom to go, but if Andrew gets to get his third main Spider-Man and he goes against Venom, then I'll be okay with that. Make it good, please. Next up is Waterboy. I keep forgetting all his Adam Sandler movies. It's a great movie as well. He in the cooler. Hilarious. Great movie. Okay, this one's definitely a newer film, and this is When Harry Met Sally. And let me tell you guys, I had no expectations with this movie. I've only heard of it at the time being. I watched it for the first time sometime, I think, early this year, probably last year, late last year. I watched it. I fell in love. I love this movie. It is so great. I've watched it, probably my most rewatched movie of this year and last year, and when the Batman 2 is up there. It's such a great movie. I love their story. It is so great. Such a quotable movie too. Next up is a new edition as well, and that's The Wolf of Wall Street. I've never seen it. I do want to check it out though. I like the Steelbook. It was at Walmart for like $12, so not too bad. I do want to check it out though. Next up here is X. If you haven't seen X, check it out. It will throw you off. That's all I'm gonna say. It will mess with you. What is this? Okay, this is Zombieland. I remember watching this. I remember liking it. I just need to rewatch it sometime. I can't say too much about it. Guys, we've made it through all the regular movies. I think we might be at relatively same time as the last video. That's our last. Okay. Now I'm gonna give you all my MCU reviews at speed, rapid fire speed. Okay, because I know there's a lot of movies now. Oh God. All right, we're gonna go rapid fire, guys. Rapid fire. Okay, Iron Man. I really enjoy it. Definitely a good movie. I have no complaints, really. I wish they made more movies like Iron Man. Hulk, Incredible Hulk. Definitely underrated. I really enjoy this movie for what it is. I love the action scene. Definitely a better Hulk than Mark Ruffalo. No offense to Mark Ruffalo. I just prefer this version of Hulk, if that makes sense. I do like his Bruce Banner better, though. Next up, Iron Man 2. Me. Not the worst film in the MCU, but not the best either. Thor, it's okay. I don't really have any gripes, I guess. It's just okay. Next up is Captain America: The First Avenger. The thing about this film, I like this film. I just like the first half better than the last half. That's how I feel about it. The Avengers, I need to get this on 4K, of course. My whole goal is to get all the MCU movies on 4K. I just am working on it. Avengers on Blu Ray, a really good film. I just think the style of Joss Whedon compared to the Russo brothers is almost really different. I feel like if you watch the first two Avengers, they really wanted to have conflict with the Avengers, like heavy-handed, especially like Cap and Tony, which I get that, but it sometimes feels a little bit heavy-handed when I watch it. But this film is a great film. No, I'm not saying that. Just go watch. Everyone's seen the Avengers. Why did I say go watch it? It's a good film. Iron Man 3, I think it's underrated, low-key. I really like. There's some parts I don't think that's great about it. But there's some things I really do like about it, though. So, I don't know. I like Iron Man 3. Not horrible, like everyone says. Probably my top 3 worst MCU movies. It's just forgettable is the thing I can say about this. It's forgettable. It's boring. Like, Malekith? Who's that? Sorry, guys. Next up is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Like I said in my last Blu Ray collection video, I need to rewatch this. I really haven't rewatched this since. I know the political part of it is something I wasn't a fan of in the first one, but I said as I get older, I kind of understand things more, and I relate. I just need to rewatch it. That's how I feel about it. I do like the action scenes, though. It's really good, though. Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, one of my favorite, probably top 10 favorite MCU movies. It's a great, great movie. I love it. Age of Ultron, Avengers Age of Ultron, it's okay. It's very comic booky in sense of like how it's directed and stuff. I like it. I don't hate it. I think it's my least favorite Avengers movie, but not a bad movie by any means. Alright, Ant-Man, it is cool because the case on here, it's black. You would think it's a 4K, but it's just a Blu-ray. I like Ant-Man a lot. A really good film. One of my top halves of my favorite MCU movies. Next up here is probably top 5 MCU movies. Captain America Civil War. I love it. I love it. It's like an Avengers movie, pretty much. But I love the conflict in this movie. It's very good. Next up, it's a good movie. Doctor Strange. I like it. I don't love it. It's good. It's fine. Good. Doctor Strange is one of my favorite characters, though. I love Doctor Strange. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I remember really liking this film, too. I need to give it a rewatch sometime, but I remember liking it. I love the soundtrack, too. One of my favorite MCU movies, Spider-Man: Homecoming. Don't get me wrong, when I think of Spider-Man movies in the MCU, I take them away. I don't try to compare them to Andrew's and Tobey's because I feel like his story is kind of a bit different compared to what we're used to. Because he doesn't really have an Uncle Ben figure. That's the thing. Like, they never specifically say if he had an Uncle Ben figure, but when you watch No Way Home, they mention Uncle Ben, but he never really has a reaction to that. So it just makes me think: does he have an Uncle Ben? And if he did, because I know he had like the if you saw in Far From Home, he had the briefcase of Ben Franklin Parker, BFP, on the initials. So I feel like he was a part of his life, but didn't have a big impact like Tony may have. I'm not for sure. I do like the Homecoming, though. It's a good film. I like Vulture a lot. Thor Ragnarok, arguably one of the most colorful films, most exciting films. I really like it. Need to rewatch it again sometime. Black Panther, I really enjoy this movie. Some of the CGI is a bit wonky near the end, but I do enjoy this film. It's good pacing, good film. Bit overrated, though. No offense, guys. I think it's a little bit overrated, but I do like it a lot. Probably my favorite MCU movie, Avengers: Infinity War. I love it. I love it all. Probably my most rewatched MCU movie as well. All right, we're on the last part, guys. We're almost there. Oh. All right, we're there. Okay. If I can get in the middle. Next up here is a film that people hate on too much, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I really like it. I really do. I have no really complaints about it. I think it's a lighthearted film, and that's exactly what it was going for. Fun time. It could have been so good. It just isn't. I'm sorry, guys. Don't hurt me. Next up here is probably my second or third favorite MCU film, Avengers: Endgame. Really good. I like Infinity War a bit better. I think this one just kind of had some things in there, just kind of threw in. But definitely, don't get me wrong, there's some great, amazing things in the movie. I just think Infinity War was a little bit better. Next up is Spider-Man: Far From Home. I like it. Just some of it's a little bit slow, like the first act when he's just going on vacation. I know it's what they're going for, lightheartedness. That's the whole point. I get it. Homecoming was like that too. This one just is a little bit slow for me in the beginning, but once you get to like the Mysterio stuff, it's pretty neat. Some of the mechanics in the Mysterio, how it works, doesn't really make sense if you think about it. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean. Next up here, honestly, sadly, disappointment in my opinion. Black Widow. Probably one of the latter halves of my films. I don't think it's a bad film. It's just really slow. I don't know. Now this here is one of my favorite MCU movies, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I was blown away. I did not expect to like that movie at all. I just love it. It is so cool to watch. I love it. Next up here is a movie I think is probably my lower halves, but it gets too much hate, and that's Eternals. I think it was beautifully shot, first of all. I think it's a gorgeous film. Arguably one of the most good-looking, best-looking films in the MCU. So don't get me wrong, the characters are kind of too many characters to worry about. I just think some of it was, there's too many things they had to explain, and that was the problem with the film. But I don't think it's a bad film, though. I just don't love it. Next up here is probably my second favorite MCU movie. It's hard to say. It's a toss-up. That's Spider-Man: No Way Home. What can I say? It's really, what can I not say? It's a great film. A great film. Probably it's either my second or third favorite Spider-Man film. It's so hard to say, guys. I don't know. It's always a toss-up with three. My favorite Spider-Man films, in no order particularly, it's Into the Spider-Verse, No Way Home, and Spider-Man 2. And Spider-Man 1's in there somewhere. So it's always a toss-up with all those. Next up here is the film I think it gets overhated, and that's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. The problem with that is people had so many expectations for that film, and it didn't deliver as much as people wanted. And I think that's why people hate on it so much. I enjoy it. I don't love it. I like it. It's fine. Next up here, honestly, is a disappointment in my head. It's Thor: Love and Thunder. They could have did so much with this character of Gore the God Butcher, but played by Christian Bale, first of all. But they just made it a joke fest the entire time. Like, it's not, I don't think it's a bad watch. It's too much sometimes. I don't know. And lastly, here for the collection is Black Panther. Black Panther? What? Sounds like a rap name. Black Panther? Wakanda Forever. I have mixed feelings about this film because I like it. It's just really slow. And there's only like pretty much one-ish battle fight scene, and that's near the end, and even that's kind of a letdown. It's just okay. I think the first one's definitely better. I like it. I like what they're going for. I really miss Chadwick. But anyways, let me give you a quick opinion on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania that just came out not too long ago. I like it. Probably my least favorite Ant-Man film. Do I think it's a bad film? No. I think it's good. It's fine. So that's what I think about that. So anyways, though, guys, that is my entire Blu-ray 4K collection. So I hope you guys enjoyed my updated collection. Hopefully next year I'll have even more movies. You know, it seems to be going that way every year. So hopefully you guys enjoyed and have a great rest of your night. Peace out, guys.